governments in the continent has taken this position reveals in itself the magnitude of rejection that this operation has had, especially in our continent. There is a fact to it that why was it covered? If it is something legal, why does it have to be covered? If it is something not condemnable, why does it have to be covered? Why do you have to use shell companies, secret bank accounts in other countries to channel the money? So I think when people take a position against something like this, they are recognizing the illegality of something that, as a matter of fact, nobody can accept. I wonder what will happen if the Cuban ambassador in the U.S. or the Cuban embassy carries out something like this in the U.S. And we would have some things to say. It's not that we wouldn't have things to say.
หนังสือพิมพ์ตลาดวิเคราะห์ฉบับใหม่ล่าสุดสคบจ่อโลกขายตรงยาแผนโบราณอ้างไฟบังคับจัดระเบียบขายตรงคปภ.สั่งล้างบางประกันนอกรีดตุนเงินกองทุนรับมือบริษัทล้มเปิดเคล็ดลับความสำเร็จมนุษย์เครือข่ายสำเร็จได้เพราะตั้งใจบวกความเพียรพยายามปุ๋ยบัวทิพย์เปิดเกมลุกเครือข่ายเกษตรประกาศยึดพื้นที่หวังครองใจเกษตรกรไทยระบบค้าส่งค้าปลีกเครื่องรวนเหตุวิกฤตกำลังซื้อผู้บริโภคลดธุรกิจแฟชั่นไทยตอบโจทย์ได้อย่างไรบนเวทีเซี่ยงไฮ้เมืองผู้นำธุรกิจแฟชั่นแห่งเอเชียติดตามหนังสือพิมพ์ตลาดวิเคราะห์ได้แล้ววันนี้ทุกแผงทั่วประเทศ
ชอบไหมภรรยาหุ่นอ้วนๆแบบนี้
ไม่อะ
แล้วหุ่นตุ้ยนุ้ยแบบนี้ล่ะ
ไม่
หุ่นสวยเป๊ะแซ่บเวอร์แบบนี้เป็นไง
ใช่เลยโดนแบบนี้โดนแล้วนายอะ
อยากมีหุ่นดีหุ่นเพียวนะคะเลือกซิลวี่ค่ะทำธุรกิจตรงนี้มีสื่อให้ท่านรองรับด้วยแล้วก็มีรายได้ทำให้มีรายได้ในครอบครัวท่านเป็นรายได้เสริมคนทำงานประจำไม่ต้องลาออกนะคะทำรายได้เสริมของงานเครือข่ายอยู่บ้านนอนอยู่บ้านก็มีรายได้
นิวเคซีไลท์ไม่ต้องเก่งไม่ต้องรวยก็ทำได้ครับ
นิวเคซีไลท์แผนการตลาดสร้างง่ายได้ไวสม่ำเสมอนิวเคซีไลท์ใส่ใจในตัวคุณ
ซินวี่สิคะแค่วันละ2แคปซูลก่อนนอนอาทิตย์แรกเนี่ยก็เริ่มรู้แล้วสนใจโทร 0856668347 0840981183 0840999347
Absolutely out of our mind to do something like that because it's not an accepted norm. Thank you.
Could you just briefly explain too how far did this particular incident or event go to affecting Cuban society? How far did it go to destabilizing your country?
Well, you see, the organizers of the program or implementing agency of the program, which was in this case the U.S. Aid for International Development, USAID, mostly known USAID, managed to take from the database of the telecommunication company of Cuba 500,000 cell subscribers, and they were in the process of organizing these 500,000 Cubans by age, by sex, by political affiliation, so that they would start the work of subversion with whomever was defined. The thing is that we have a lot of difficulties in Cuba with the accessibility to internet, because the bandwidth assigned to Cuba is very constrained. Anybody who goes here to Cuba, or if anybody has been here to Cuba, would realize that you go into the most sophisticated hotel in Cuba, you go to internet, and it will last a lot of time to connect. And it is not because of us, it's because of this. As a matter of fact, Cuba was allowed only in 1996 to connect to the world, when everybody was connecting. So this is something that people don't know. In this particular case, there was an overloading with the sending of messages to users who many of them didn't want that, because even they were overloading their cell phones. They were sometimes voice messaging was being used also, and people had to pay for that without consent. There were protests by people. So this is a particular effect that it had, apart from the political connotation of the whole program, which is the worst thing, because, as I said before, whatever we do in our country, good or bad, right or wrong, is for the Cubans to change that, not for any other country, be it big or small, to come and change, because if that's going to be the norm, imagine how this world would be. But it does affect, it continues to affect, because all these programs continue to affect. For example, this pyramid program, Piramideo, it pretends, or it works on the creation of a web of friends that use a massive SMS on a pyramid of contacts. That's why it's called in Spanish we say piramideo, and in English would be something like pyramidio or something like that. So all this creates a big problem for communications in Cuba. I can even exemplify. We were on holidays last time in Cuba, and we were at a hotel, and in Cuba there are lots of Canadians. As this is just an incidental event. There is a lot of Canadian tourists in Cuba, and one of them got so angry with the internet, the cafe where he was, that he threw the computer on the floors, and then we didn't have, because it was bad. It's not that to justify the action, but it's just to simplify how many difficulties we have. And they have been open because more because they have been seen as a channel for subversion. Only when they have been gouged as a channel for subversion, they have been more used. The bandwidth have been slightly increased, but still a lot of restrictions. Yes. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, hello. Okay, my name is Patia. I'm from MCOT, Thai News Agency. So when you say, His Excellency, when you say that the Cuban government called upon the U.S. government to stop violating international law, I would like to know how far do you wish to see? Like, for example, do you just wish to the U.S. to stop Centennial Project, or do you want them to go further? Like how far? Like what kind of reaction do you want to see from the the U.S. government in order to maintain the current relation with Cuba? Thank you.
Well, if I caught correctly the objective of your question, I think this type of program, be it against Cuba or any other country, is objectionable and should not be there. Because if you slap my face, you are putting yourself in a position that I can slap yours in legal terms, or at least in practical terms, if not legal, practical terms. So I don't see why somebody should be doing that, and why anybody has to accept that somebody does it, because, as I said, it's illegal. Even in the legislation of all countries, in the legislation, if you take, I don't think U.S. Legislation is against that. Cuba's legislation, Thai legislation. If you take the Constitution of Thailand, and there is Article, I think 56. I think Article 56 or something expressly deals with this issue. That is, nobody can allow that. In a hearing in the Senate on this case already on April 8th, in which the chairman of the subcommittee concerned with these aspects, that is foreign operations, called the chief of the USAID agency for clarifications on this problem, and this very same senator, chairman of this subcommittee, termed the program dumb, dumb, dumb. That's, I quote, that's the way he considered the program. It's a dumb, dumb, dumb program. So what I think if I am to answer your question, I would just say yes. I would like the U.S. to stop carrying out these programs and engage with Cuban in a civilized, decent negotiation of everything. Cuba has stated many times during the latest 3-4 years that we are ready to negotiate and discuss each and every thing. You are absolutely correct that spying against Cuba is not a news, because, as you rightly said, Snowden and the one before, the Australian Assange have revealed details enough of that. Believe it or not, in spite of the bad propaganda that Cuba receives more often than not for the last half a century, we have a lot of people who sympathize with us in Europe itself. And I can tell you that there are lots of, if you go into any web page or Facebook or blog in